for all premium and quality content. Subscribe to Jaggy Sports and make sure you hit that freaking like button and notifications.
Hey, what's up, guys? Jag from Jaggy Sports here. Warriors did it. They beat the Boston Celtics in Game 5 to take a 3-2 series lead. They are one win away from the NBA title. So, what happened? That's a good question. Boston Celtics were up by 16 at one point, and the Warriors came back. Like, it was back and forth, back and forth. However, the Boston Celtics couldn't make shots, especially Tatum. He couldn't make shots. But then again, Steph Curry could not make shots either. He went 0 for 9 from the three-point line. So, not so good on his part. But then again, not so good on Jason Tatum's part. So, how did the Warriors win? Andrew freaking Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins was 26 points. Jaylen Brown, Boston Celtics, went 5 for 18. Jason Tatum, 10 for 20. And, everybody had a subpar game here and there. Draymond Green played pretty well, but then he got fouled out. I think it was like 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter. But I know he started screaming at the end saying, hey, to Steve Kerr, call a review, and it was unsuccessful anyways, so that was a waste of time. Draymond Green guaranteed he's on his podcast talking whatever, that's his thing. If he wants to do it, that's fine. But Andrew Wiggins, a guy who was the first pick and then he got traded for Kevin Love as part of the whole LeBron situation, him going back to Cleveland. He basically wanted Kevin Love in there, so, that happened. Basically, he played phenomenal in the last two games, and it was well noted that he did not have any high numbers in all playoffs kind of thing like that, but he sacrificed, and I think he said it best. He goes, I just want to win, right? Like, he's doing whatever he can. If the coach wants him to get this, get that kind of thing, give the ball to Steph, he will, kind of thing. But this guy was just over the on the glass all the entire time, just rebounding like hell. And Steph Curry off night completely after 43 points, but Andrew Wiggins picked up the slack. So the Boston Celtics are down, and basically they face elimination. Now they face elimination going back to Boston. They are one win away from going home. Well, not really going home, but they'll be in Boston. But the main story here is the Boston Celtics face elimination, and they've been here before, right? They've been here before with Milwaukee. I can't remember who else they were facing elimination with, but they overcame the odds because they stuck to their defense, right? I said it before. Boston's defense is elite. This could go 7 games. I don't put it past Golden State to not take it in Boston. So my question to you is are the Boston Celtics going to win Game 6 in Boston and avoid elimination in their hometown? Or are the Golden State Warriors going to capture their their fourth title in 8 years? I'm pretty sure that was the stat. Fourth title in 8 years, or are the Boston Celtics going to avoid elimination on Thursday? Make sure you guys tune in. Make sure you hit like, hit that notification button, hit that subscribe button, and also make sure you comment and tell me who is going to win June 16th. Okay, June 16th, the Boston Celtics or the Golden State Warriors. Is it going to be the NBA title on Thursday, or are we saving that for Golden State? This is Jag from Jaggy Sports.
I want to welcome in Stephen A. Smith now. I'll spin this one. Okay. Stephen A. Smith, good evening. Great to be with you. You just heard Tim and I talking about what Andrew Wiggins provided tonight. And outside of Wiggins, I mean, they don't, in Tim's estimation, win this game without him. What did you see from Wiggins in this game on both ends of the floor in terms of his contribution to Golden State's win?
Well, I thought it was the best performance he's ever put forth. I didn't hear you and Tim Legler talking prior to my coming on, but I could imagine what my buddy Legs had to say. Andrew Wiggins stepped up, and he's going to erase memories of him being the #1 overall pick and being in Minnesota and being relatively pedestrian. He was aggressive tonight. He was looking for a shot. He recognized the fact that Steph Curry didn't have his, and as a result, he really stepped up and handled his business on both ends of the floor. Shooting 12 of 23 for the field, ended up with 26 points, grabbing 13 rebounds, embracing the toughest assignment, which was Jason Tatum, and contributing to holding Jason Tatum to 5 points in the fourth quarter and 1 of 5 shooting. So you can't say enough about the job that Andrew Wiggins did tonight. He was clearly the MVP of this game.
No doubt. And my apologies, Stephen A. I never know when you get your earpiece in to hear what the conversation was. But Legs and I were just talking about how if we're patient, which we aren't always in our business, right? If we're patient, we can allow somebody to become something more than they were. And we get what he was and what he...
Yeah, that's always the case.
Right.
Well, that's always the case.
Always.
I mean, of course, if we're patient, we'll see guys. But because you can't afford to be. When guys walk to the negotiating table and they're asking for 30 or 40 million,
it's not
and the
my
money
money,
that
though.
you give them costs somebody else something, you don't have. I'm just saying, you don't have but so much time. You need immediate dividends. You need an immediate payoff in that sometimes. And what I mean by immediate, it doesn't have to be that year, but year 2, year 3, you definitely need to see something. You don't need a former #1 overall pick waiting 5 or 6 years to show you what he's capable of doing in a moment like this. But you can't take credit away from what he has shown us. He has shown that he can score the ball, but more importantly, he's willing to embrace tough defensive assignments, and he answers the call. And he deserves a lot of credit for that, and he's getting it right now.
No doubt. Stephen A., if I tell you tonight at 9 Eastern, right before the jump, Steph goes 0 for 3. For the first time in his career in the playoffs, 133rd playoff game, he doesn't make it 3. If I tell you that prior to the game and you're in Boston's locker room, you think we're going home with a chance to seal it. Do you feel like they missed perhaps their best opportunity to steal one if a 7th game is needed?
I don't think so because they're road warriors. They were 7-0 coming into this game. You know what their record was on the road. They were 7-0. In terms of after a loss.
Right.
So we know that they can show up and deliver the goods on the road. I was very scared for Golden State coming into this game because I said they needed this game desperately because they're going to be hard-pressed to convince me that they're going to be able to beat Boston in back-to-back games at TD Bank Garden. That crowd is going to be rocking. They're going to be ready, and I think Tatum and Brown and the rest of the cast will feed off of that. We'll see what happens. But to come back here and Golden State for Game 7, it's not beyond the realm of comprehension that an elite defensive team can show up on the road and really close the team out. It's entirely possible that Boston could do it. I'm not assuming they will. I've got Golden State winning this series in 7 games, but nevertheless, I don't negate the fact, nor do I ignore the fact, that the Boston Celtics, with their personnel, can come in here in a Game 7 to win it. But they got to get it done in Game 6 because when you consider what Boston did, they're in a tight spot right now because Golden State shows up in Game 6 Thursday night playing with house money, knowing they've got a Game 7 back here as a worst-case scenario. That's a dangerous, dangerous position for Boston to be in where Steph Curry and them can just show up and know they got 48 minutes to ruin everything for you, and they got the cushion of a Game 7. Boston's in trouble.
Visit with our friend Monica McNutt, who's on the call on ESPN Radio. And Monica, we did not hear from Steph Curry, not yet. You chatted with him after the game. Now, as I mentioned in the highlight earlier, 133 playoff games in the career for him where he's made it 3. This is the first one he did not. It felt like he was hunting it late once they knew they'd won. I wonder if that's something that you asked him about, if they were, he had to clearly be aware.
I did ask him, SVP, and I don't know if this is a little breach of the journalism line, but I said, I have to tell you a stat. Please don't be mad at me. And he said, oh, I already know. I didn't hit a 3. He said, I didn't know how many games it was in, and so I told him. And he said, well, all good things come to an end. I'm glad I can talk about this one with a smile because we got the W. So big picture, as he is a tremendous teammate, he didn't seem too concerned about not hitting a three tonight.
No, but it's remarkable given how great he was in Game 4 where he had 43. They don't win without his performance there. And as we've been talking about since we came on, they don't win without Wiggins tonight. What was the sense of Andrew's teammates about his contributions tonight and their significance?
Well, I asked Steph straight up, what makes Andrew Wiggins such a good fit for this Golden State Warriors organization? And he said he has a defined role. He knows exactly what we need from him, and he's able to excel in that. And he pointed out, I mean, he's a guy that has scored 20 points over the course of his career, but in lesser markets. And so on this stage, he's been built up with confidence from his teammates. It's very clear where he can excel and how he can excel and where he fits in this squad. But I got to add this, SVP. In our pregame conversation with Steve Kerr prior to the ballgame, he actually said that he believes that Andrew Wiggins is becoming one of the best two-way players in the league. And that dated back to, obviously, of course, how he defended Luka Doncic, but even in the Memphis series, some of the defensive assignments that he drew.
One last thought. I'm always interested in the building, the vibe in a building. Golden State starts out like, all right, here we go. We're going to do our thing. They own the third quarter, but then Boston, who had been miserable from three, they start burying shots. They grab a lead. Explain for me, Monica, the ebbs and flows emotionally, and then in the end, the avalanche comes from the home team and everybody leaves happy. But how much back and forth did the emotions of the building go?
Well, the third quarter was pretty intense. I will say these Golden State Warriors fans kept it loud in here, but you could kind of feel the tension as the Celtics made that run. But, as the fourth quarter began, you started to see the Celtics begin to unravel a bit with some of the hot-headed plays, some of the turnovers that plagued them. By the time we got down to the 3-minute mark, SVP, this was kind of funny. They showed Too Short on the screen. They played his music in the background, and I can't say the words right now on TV, but the entire Chase Center chimed in just at the right time.
Understood. Yeah, Memphis has their thing. The Bay has their thing. Everybody's got their thing. Monica, as always, appreciate your time. Be well, all right? Brian Windhorst joins us now. And, Brian, if you're Boston and you miss your first dozen threes, then you come out in the third, right? The quarter where typically Golden State goes nuts, and you build a lead on a night where Steph doesn't make a three, and you got to get on the plane and fly home. How much of an opportunity do you feel like you've missed?
They got to be sick. They got to be absolutely sick that they didn't win either of these last two games. And that's not to take anything away from the Warriors. But if I would have come out and told you before this game that for the first time in 233 games, Steph Curry was not going to make a three. If I told you Jason Tatum was going to have his best shooting game of the series by a good margin, if I told you Marcus Smart was going to score 20 points, because they almost always win when he scores 20 points, if I had told you that the Warriors were going to go 9 of 40 from three in this building, how could you even think that you would even have a close game? You thought you'd win it going away. And this has been the nature of the Celtics. They just make everything so hard on themselves. And I just covered them for the last 6 weeks, and I saw them go through 2 7-game series. So it won't surprise me if it happens again. But they should be playing a closeout game on Thursday in Boston. They could have closed out today. Steph was great in Game 4, so I won't take anything away from him. But really, the Warriors got to be just so elated that they came out with a win. And look, they played with the requisite focus and energy for a Game 5 2-2 in the finals. The Celtics did not. I mean, they earned it. But man, the Celtics let this one go. What a missed opportunity for them.
Yeah, but I can recall you and I having a very similar conversation in the Milwaukee series, and they flipped the script, right? Because they had to go win in a Game 6 and then come home and do it in Game 7. They were able to do that, and that's why they find themselves here now. We don't often this time of year, Brian, when you and I chat, talk sort of organizational might and roster construction and how maybe the way an organization goes about things is on display. But you feel that that's a topic that we should probe tonight. In what way?
That was what I was thinking about tonight, because Andrew Wiggins, he's not an underdog. He makes $32 million. While the Warriors were down these last couple of years, winning no games, they kept spending money because they've got it. They re-signed Draymond Green. They re-signed Steph Curry. They re-signed Kevon Looney. They kept Andrew Wiggins. And boy, did it show up tonight. Andrew Wiggins, with a supreme moment in his career, he was a throw-in a trade. Other teams would have totally gotten rid of him. They stuck with him. They have a $340 million payroll when you consider taxes. You don't just have to beat the Warriors on the court. You got to beat their checkbook. And nothing away from Andrew Wiggins tonight, but this was a checkbook win for the Warriors.
I'm going to ask you the same thing I asked Malika, just because you've been in the building, you've watched this team all season long, and Boston with a very, very keen eye in these playoffs. You think this series makes it back for a 7th game?
Yep. I'm telling all of our camera crew here, you better clear your weekend. That's the nature of this series, and that's what I expect. And I can't. This series is completely unpredictable, so I won't sit here and tell you how it's going to go down on Thursday. But my hotel reservations are being held.
Outstanding. I feel like ESPN Travel is getting a lot of big plugs tonight. We appreciate all they do for us to get us from A to B. Even though some of us stayed in Tulsa for 3 weeks, it's no big deal. Brian, we love you. Be well. Travel safe.